Welcome to HSBC Global Viewpoint, the podcast series that brings together business leaders and industry experts to explore the latest global insights, trends, and opportunities. Make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with new episodes. Thanks for listening, and now on to today's show.
Welcome to the Perspectives podcast series at the HSBC's GCC Conference 2025. My name is Samer Deghali. I co-head the Capital Markets and Advisory business in the MENAT region. I'm joined today by Khaled Alfakesh, CFO of Talabat, as well as Areeb Pasha, CFO of Dubizzle. We're here today to discuss the new economy in the UAE, particular focus around the technology sector. Khaled and Areeb, welcome. If I can start with a question to you, Khaled. Can you tell us, please, more about Talabat and the post-IPO journey?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. Talabat is the largest in the MENAT now when it comes to online food ordering and grocery business. It's been the business since 21 years so far. I joined as a CFO 9 years ago. Believe me, I had a black hair at that time. We operate in 8 markets, all GCC countries, with the exception of Saudi. We are also in Egypt and Jordan and Iraq. We serve roughly 7 million customers on a monthly basis. We were lucky to have the largest IPO in 2024 in GCC and also the largest tech IPO in the world. I think that was inspired by also being in Dubai. So if you want to do an IPO, you have to do something special. So far, we are 6 months already now in the journey. It's been amazing. We are here already in London. And as you can imagine, we spend lots of time meeting investors, making sure that you continue providing color and understanding on the equity story that we basically laid out through the IPO process, and also make sure that we continue explaining what is the strategy, what's the results, etc.
Amazing. Areeb, you're a CFO of another fast growth company. Can you please tell us more about Dubizzle and as well the growth and acquisition strategy of Dubizzle?
Sure. Again, thank you for hosting us. I am a Talabat customer.
And I am a Dubizzle customer.
I've been with Dubizzle for 5 years, so the hairs started to turn grey, but maybe another 4 years and it'll be more grey. So Dubizzle, basically, we're Dubizzle Group. We operate in the GCC market. We operate 2 main brands. One is By Youth, which is focused on the real estate sector, and we call it like a vertical. And then we have Dubizzle, which is a horizontal platform which serves autos, goods, services, pretty much everything. So if you're looking for a furniture item, you can go to Dubizzle. If you're looking to sell a phone, you can come to Dubizzle. In addition to that, we kind of focus on the GCC market. Our 2 core main markets are the UAE, and then KSA is the other key market for us, where we've started investing more recently. We have a very scalable tech stack, which we roll out to any GCC country that we want to. This is very centralized, and depending on the local requirements of a particular geography, we can tailor it or tweak it fairly quickly and launch or access the market quite at a very quick pace. In addition to that, we serve about 50 million or host about 50 million sessions on our platforms on a monthly basis. This is unique traffic coming to our platforms. And in addition to that, we're serving the agencies and the dealer markets, specifically in the UAE and in the KSA market as well. So overall, I think we're in a very exciting stage in our growth. We see a lot of further growth opportunities both in KSA and in the UAE. We look to acquire companies as well, so we build in inorganic growth in addition to the organic growth that we have. More recently, we've completed the acquisitions of 2 other platforms. One's called Drive Arabia, and one's called Property Monitor. And when we're looking to acquire businesses, we look at companies that can add to our current value chain.
If I look at Talabat and Dubizzle today, both of you are obviously major tech players, but as well, both of you do speak to a lot of consumers in the UAE economy. How do you see the consumer behavior changing, and what are you doing about it? Maybe I'll start with you, Khaled.
Yeah, sure. I think, first of all, I think we are lucky also. We are in MENA region, I would say, in general. Of course, we're lucky to be also in UAE. I think in specific on Talabat, what we've seen in terms of the consumer behavior and what's changing is probably 2 things. One, my generation is fading out, and we've seen this new generation is coming in. So we have a very small percentage of our customers, so probably less than 0.2, 0.3% of the customers, is basically people who places 120, 130 or 150 orders a month on Talabat. So they transact like almost every day, once or twice or 3 times, right? Yeah. And this is basically, if you look at the persona of those customers, is really young, 18 to maybe 25, 26 years old, right? And it's fascinating because it is ingrained in their brain nowadays that if you need something, you need it now, you need it instantly. It's not like where grocery shopping becomes like a family outage, or you go with a family outside and you enjoy grocery. Believe me, now if I take my kids out, they don't really love it. So you've seen this change in general, and in specific on the grocery side. So similar to how food transitioned from being offline or via telephones into mobile, we've seen now on the grocery business is the same. So if you look at our grocery business on the app, is quite large. It's roughly $2.5 billion if we include also InstaShop, which we acquired lately. But that is probably 2 to 3% of the offline market only. And if you look, for example, at the numbers that the listed retailers share, you will see that they are growing probably at a low single digit, but their online share is growing at 70, 80, or 90%, right?
Yeah.
So this shows you now we are at this inflection point where customers and basically the share of wallet on the grocery side is switching to basically to online. So this is the biggest, I would say, two behaviors that we've seen. And of course, with that becomes where you can add value in the customer's journey. The more value, the more reasons you create for customers to come to your app, the more the customers become sticky. So in fact, for example, it's very interesting when you look at the data. If you are a food-only customer on Talabat, if you place only food orders, on average, let's say you do 3-4 orders a month, the moment you switch to become multi-vertical, so you transact food and you transact grocery and retail, your frequency, your activity on the app triples. You go from like 4 orders to 12 or 13 orders a month. And this increase does not come on the grocery side only, but comes also on food. So the app become more sticky. And I would assume it's the same probably for Dubizzle. The more reasons, the more vertical you would provide for consumers, the more you would see them that they transact and they engage with you.
I think that holds true for our platform as well. We are a slightly different business model, but just on that point, a customer comes to our website maybe looking for a car. Let's say somebody from the UK is moving to the UAE. They'll look for a car, then they might be looking for furniture, they might be looking for a property to rent. If they have the money, they might be looking to buy. So, there's a network effect that's created within our platform, and the customers are looking at various things when they're searching through the platforms that we have. In terms of consumer behavior for our business model, what we see is that the users are looking for more and more information. They want everything to be a little more transparent, and the way we tailor to that is we continue to upgrade our tech offerings. For example, we have a facility or an option on our website which can give you a true estimate. So you can go in, select a property in a particular area, click through a few buttons, and it'll give you an estimate of what the value of that property is. In addition to that, consumers we see are also looking for efficiency. So if, again, you've moved to Dubai, you can go to our app and use a functionality called Search 2.0. You can put in the coordinates of where your office is or potentially is going to be. Where are you going to send your kids to school? And based on that, you can triangulate the information, and the website will tell you this is the best place for you to rent or buy an apartment or a villa based on your exact requirement, whether it's a 3-bed, how many bathrooms are you looking for, etc., etc. So again, customers are getting smarter and smarter. I think it's in line with the trend that you're seeing, as the users are more younger, they are more tech savvy, they want more transparency, and they want to do things in a more and more efficient manner. So on the tech side, we have to continue to cater to that and continue to develop our tech stack to meet their needs.
That's actually very interesting, maybe just to add, because it might sound a bit controversial, but we really don't believe in the super app rather than probably what you've explained exactly. Because if you have the customers, doesn't mean that you own them. You need to provide them with value. You need to create like more adjacent verticals for them to transact with you. So you will not see us, for example, getting into selling cars on Talabat because we don't have the right to play. We don't have the right to win. And that's why we, for example, ride hailing, we partnered with Bolt, right? Because it's good to provide this value for customers, but it's something that we cannot operate ourselves. So we do it through partnerships. Yeah. So if you are a subscriber on Talabat, for example, you enjoy benefits of discounts on Bolt. And it's similar to what you mentioned. I mean, you kind of like acquire the customers when they need probably a car or they need a house, and then you build on that journey, right? We see the same, and this is where we believe we're getting into grocery, we're getting into retail. We launched the postpaid feature, which is in line with this. So, for example, what we realized is that it was very interesting. If you look at the ordering behavior of the customers in the week of salaries, usually our consumers start to transact slightly more on Talabat. And you will be surprised that still large percentage of the orders is placed with debit cards, not with credit cards. Give you kind of an indication that access to formal credit is not that easy. So we launched the postpaid feature, which is basically a deferred payment. So we'll give a minor credit, it's $50, $100, and you pay after 30 days. And what we've seen really good amount of adoption to that. So to your point, it's very important to look at these, what customers needs. Do you have the right to play? Do you have the right to win? To provide the service or not?
No, it's amazing. I heard you saying tailoring needs. I heard you saying acquisition of customers. As you said, you don't own the customers, but you really have a lot of data about their consumer habits, and you can suggest products to them.
Absolutely.
The UAE has become pretty much a center for global innovation and technology, but as well as a center of a magnet for entrepreneurs to come to the UAE. What's your advice to the entrepreneurs and the coming to the UAE? Maybe we start with you, Khaled.
I think what is really unique about UAE in general, and maybe Dubai in specific, is how government are really pro-business, and the way they look at regulation, legislation is really in a mindset of allowing businesses to thrive and grow, and something really fascinating. You don't see this often across the markets. Secondly, of course, access to talents is extremely important, and specifically I'm speaking about tech. So I think the fact that we have our headquarters in Dubai allow us to really scale our tech capability. We have roughly today, I think, around 500 engineers between Dubai and Egypt. The vast majority of them is Dubai, right? And this allows us to really tap into a large pool of talent. You can see this migration of talents that is coming to the region that they want to live in Dubai. And I think probably you would see them from your side as well. Definitely they need to buy cars, they need to lease or buy properties, etc. Also, I think what is really unique is the diversification you see. So we have more than 70 nationality across the organization. And this is really powerful because it gives you lots of perspective. You get people like really from across the globe with different mindsets and with different perspective, and this really helps you in building something unique for the consumers, and that caters for 200 probably nationalities that lives in Dubai.
Yeah, just building on that, like a lot of the traffic that we get on our applications is not from the UAE. In fact, what we've seen is that maybe in 2022, the percentage of traffic that we were getting on our platforms from the UAE was higher. And then in more recent months, we've seen that a lot of international traffic is coming in. It's a very easy place to do business. The regulation is very, very helpful. The government will understand your needs and cater to those needs. Just to give you an example, to make the real estate industry more transparent, the DLD or the Dubai Land Department issues a specific code. And without the issuance of this code, you cannot list a property online.
Yeah.
Which basically means that any listing that you see on a platform like ours is true, it's real. And you're not dealing with spam or listings that are not real. So the regulation really, really helps on that front. And then it's supplemented by the infrastructure that's available, both the hard infrastructure and then, as you mentioned, the talent pool is available within the region that you can tap into. So I think it's an excellent destination for any entrepreneurs.
Areeb, one of your key verticals is obviously, in terms of products exposure, is the real estate market, and you're kindly contributing as well to a panel today about the subject at the GCC conference. What's your view about the UAE real estate market? How do we see the growth going from here?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and it's very, very hard to predict the future. But I think my view is super positive. And there are a few reasons for that. I think you have to understand the fundamentals of the UAE, the country itself. It's a tech destination. It's a talent hub. It's a logistics hub. You can travel in and out of Dubai very, very easily. So communicating to other parts of the world is super easy. On top of that, you have the infrastructure available. If you're driving around Dubai, roads are really good. There are a few traffic jams that we can debate about, but I think it's a good thing. And then finally, if you look at the real estate prices in the UAE, they're still cheaper than other big cities across the world. The Londons, New York, Hong Kong, Singapore. So Dubai in the UAE has established itself as a key destination. It's a real option for people to live in. It's safe, it's secure, you've got good schooling. So the underlying fundamentals are absolutely sound and great. And based on that, I think in the future, the volumes will continue to grow. The prices can vary, but specifically in the villa sector, we feel that there's still an undersupply. You can get different views on supply and demand, but I think those prices will continue to go up. So overall, in terms of the total transaction volume that we'll see in the real estate sector, and then also the pricing, one times the other, I think the overall transactional value will continue to grow. By what percentage is anyone's guess?
Yeah.
But overall, I think it's the place to be.
I mean, it's fair to say that the days of booms and busts in the real estate market are no longer there. There must be a trend and a progressive trend.
Yeah.
And clearly, with the amount of data that you have, you can see probably the build-up of that trend building up on the platform.
Yeah.
So I suspect you're not seeing any weakness in the market coming in the short term.
I mean, I can talk about the historical data that we see, and yeah, I mean, the transaction value in April was up, I think, 95% against the same month last year. It was up by 30% against March.
Amazing.
Yet to get the data for May, but those numbers are unbelievable. And I think again, I'll get to the underlying factor of what the UAE is offering, and based on that, I think everything looks positive. We also get details of where the traffic is coming from. So a lot of the traffic that we're getting is from the UK, Germany, Italy, so covering Europe. We get a lot of traffic from Africa, the likes of Egypt. You get a lot of traffic from Asia, Pakistan, India, all the way out to Australia. So when you look at the traffic trends on the platform, you realize that it's really a popular destination.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and especially because the more properties you sell, the more people needs to eat on Talabat. So that's good for us.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's.
Khaled, you spoke about many initiatives and many products that you're trying to develop on the platform. How are you keeping pace with technology, and how are you using it to develop new products at the Talabat platform?
So it's mainly, to be honest, it's mainly about how can we monetize the data without selling the data, right? How can we really use the data? So for example, similar to what Areeb was mentioning, if you look at the data from the consumer side, but also from the merchant or the partner side. So today, for example, we're really focusing on two things. One, to make the app personalized, like really a high level of personalization. So if you open the Talabat app, vertically or horizontally, any swim lane you would see it's actually personalized to your need, right? For example, if you, from a couple of orders, we would know that, okay, if Samer or Khaled is a pizza lover, right? So then this would reflect on your search algorithm. This will reflect on the filter on the cuisine, that whenever you go to the filter, you would see first pizza. And we have enough depth and breadth of brands and promotions and offers that caters for you in this particular area. So all of this data can be used for the restaurant's partners. So instead of a pizza place to give, for example, a generic discount of 50% to the three of us, we also don't do this, because Samer most likely would transact with you. Don't give him the 50% discount. Why don't you give 60% discount to Khaled and Areeb? That is much better for you as a restaurant, because your return on ad spend is much more, because the likelihood of conversion is higher, right? So really the focus on personalization and data. Same with, for example, for the postpaid product. I often get the same question. Okay, you give $50 or $100 or $150 for your customers to allow them to transact and then pay after 30 days. We don't charge any fee. If there's a late payment, we don't charge a fee. If they don't pay us, we allow them to transact on the app, etc. So why are we doing this, right? And we say we do it because it's really good feature for the customers, and food becomes a commodity. You need to provide more value for the customers. But the main reason is that our default rate is very low, right? And we've seen that the customers who use this feature, their frequency increases by 15%, right? And the main reason that the default rate is low is that we know the customers very well. So we know what, for example, if similar to what you mentioned about the demographic, we know where you live in the city. So based on that, we have an idea of your credit worthiness. As a banker, you would
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate that. So we know what device do you have. Is it an iOS or an Android, or is it a latest iOS device? If you transact with HSBC, which card, which tier, right? And you've seen this correlation between the personas of customers and their likelihood of repayment. Customers who places healthy, or let's say who orders healthy food during the day, their likelihood of repayment is high compared to someone order junk food at night. That's the data, right? So the focus is how can we keep pace on all this technology? How can we make sure that we have enough data? How can we make sure that our data scientists really use the latest technology, especially on AI, to enrich the customer journey, is to enrich the services we provide for customers and partners.
You should partner with banks with this data.
That's the plan.
Assessment of creditworthiness using amazing. I'll ask one last question, and probably I'll start with you, Areeb. What do you see as the most significant investment opportunity in the Gulf in your line of business?
It's not an easy one to answer, I think. There's so many opportunities, but I think I'll stick with the talent that you can find in the region. I think you had a question on entrepreneurs, whether they should come to the region. But I think the kind of talent that you can find in the market is unbelievable. A lot of great minds are moving from all parts of the world to the UAE. And you get access to some amazing people. And, one of the things that we really, really focus on as a company is getting the right people in, getting motivated people in. So if you invest in the right talent, I think you've secured yourself for the next few years, because that talent is going to drive innovation. It's going to drive your growth. So I think and people will mention investing in AI and data. That's all.
I love your answer,
good.
By the way.
But I think it's the people at the core. Like I think intelligence for me will always be human.
Yeah.
So invest in the human capital, and you can build something amazing in the region, I think.
I love your answer. As a technology company, people would expect you're going to invest in further technology or expanding.
Well, that'll happen in any case. So,
but investing in human,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more, because the biggest assets you have is actually your team, your people, right? That's especially when you are a tech company, you don't have really tangible assets. You really have your people. So I think I would definitely agree with that. And also I would say focus is very important, because there's plenty of opportunities in the region that we are in. And extremely important to focus and make sure that your investments is really within your strategy. So for example, if you look at us, yes, we are doing a lot. But in fact, it's mainly focused around three things, right? We want to make sure that we have the largest selection. Being a technology player, we want to make sure that the content we have is basically all the cuisines, the restaurants, the grocery SKUs that we have is the largest. So we focus a lot on that. Second is on experience. We want to make sure that we have the largest fleets, the most efficient fleet, and we have the reliable service. And third is basically affordability. We want to make sure that we provide value for customers when they come to our platform. And the last one is how can we create an ecosystem around this? How can we make sure that we create an adjacent kind of features and verticals to make sure that customers are sticky within the app? So I think investing in people and making sure that those people are actually very focused, because you will get lots of ideas, and especially because of this talent and pool that you have, there's plenty of ideas, there are plenty of opportunities. It's very important to stay focused.
Yeah, I'll just pick one word that I really liked is, it's about creating that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And if you can get that or mix right, it'll just kind of, it's like it'll have like a snowballing effect.
Absolutely.
Both on the numbers and in terms of your brand reputation in the market.
Absolutely.
Khaled and Areeb, thank you very much. I really enjoyed our chat today.
Likewise.
And I look forward to keep discussing with you how we can help you further.
Thank you so much.
And keep using our platforms, right?
Of course. I'm a key customer for both of you.
Buy properties.
I've sold cars and I bought houses. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at HSBC Global Viewpoint. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. Make sure you're subscribed to stay up to date with new episodes.